Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, affects pretty much all of us: the hiring process. And we all know it can be frustrating, and sometimes it feels downright broken. We're going to explore a different way of thinking about it, a more ethical approach, all based on the philosophy of CX25WW. It's an approach that could really change how people and companies connect. So let's just jump right in with the big question, right? Why is hiring so often a deeply frustrating process for literally everyone involved? I mean, think about it. If you're running a company, you're struggling to find the right talent. If you're a student trying to land that first job, the whole thing just feels like a confusing maze. And if you're a professional looking for a new opportunity, it can be really disheartening. The frustration is everywhere, but the question is why? The root of all this frustration, it really boils down to one fundamental problem. We call it the hiring disconnect. And this slide, it lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you have companies. They're looking for that perfect mix of skill, long-term loyalty, and that kind of hard-to-define cultural fit. But then, on the other side, you have the candidates. And what do they need? Well, it's pretty fundamental: respect for their time and effort, clarity about the job, and a real opportunity to grow. And when what the company seeks and what the candidate needs don't line up, that's when you get the friction, the ghosting, the bad hires. The whole process starts to feel more like a conflict than a collaboration. That's the disconnect. So what's the fix? How do we actually bridge this gap? Well, the solution isn't some flashy new app or a super complex algorithm. It's actually much simpler and much more powerful. It's a foundational idea, a real commitment to integrity. And this is where the CX25W philosophy really begins. It all starts with this one simple but totally game-changing statement: we don't charge candidates. I mean, really stop and think about what that means. By never, ever taking a fee from a candidate, our success is tied 100% to the employer's success. There's no conflict of interest, period. It's not about just pushing someone into a role to make a quick placement. It's about finding the right person for the right company. And that builds a foundation of trust from the very first conversation. Okay, so with that foundation of trust in place, what comes next? What other principles guide this more ethical way of hiring? Let's unpack that a little bit. Now, this next principle, this is a big one. It's a direct challenge to some of the worst habits you see out there in the industry. No more overselling a job to make it sound like something it's not. And absolutely no more creating some kind of fake urgency to pressure a good candidate into making a decision they're not ready for. It's all about replacing manipulation with just honesty. And you can see the stark difference right here. The old way, it relies on pressure, hype, basically selling a role to someone. But the ethical way, it's all about enabling an informed decision. It's built on transparency and honesty. So you're not selling a job, you're making a match. And that, right there, is what leads to hires who are actually engaged, prepared, and successful for the long run. But here's the thing. These principles aren't just about, being nice or doing the right thing for the sake of it. They are actually the essential building blocks for a much larger, much more strategic goal. The real goal here is to achieve what we call operational maturity. And this is the key takeaway, the very heart of this entire philosophy. Ethical hiring is operational maturity. Let that sink in for a moment. It isn't some separate HR initiative or a feel-good policy. It is the definition of a strategic, high-functioning hiring process. So what in the world is operational maturity? Well, think of it like this. Instead of constantly being in a reactive mode, frantically trying to fill empty seats, you're building a well-oiled machine. It's a hiring process that's stable, it's repeatable, and it consistently brings in the right people at the right time to help your company hit its long-term goals. It literally transforms hiring from a chaotic, unpredictable cost center into a strategic asset. So what happens when a company truly gets this right? When they embrace this philosophy and actually achieve that level of maturity? Well, the results they're pretty transformative. You end up creating this powerful win-win for everyone involved. It kicks off this incredible positive chain reaction. It's like a virtuous cycle. See, it all starts with trust. When you operate with honesty and respect, you don't just attract available candidates, you attract the best fit candidates. And because the whole process is based on clarity, you naturally make stronger, more informed hires. Then over time, that builds an amazing reputation. You become an employer that top talent actually seeks out. Each step just powerfully fuels the next one. I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What is the true cost of a bad hiring process? What does it cost you? Whether it's lost time, wasted money, or a hit to your team's morale, the price is almost always higher than we think.